Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video, to European Outlook for today's second video. So as always on a Thursday, we're having a look at the weather for the next week, 10 days in detail for the UK and for the rest of Europe as well. And I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just save that first video, say your 6 AM upload. And we've got a 10 to 14 day coming up later on this afternoon as well. So please like, share and subscribe on vids. Thanks so very much everybody for doing that. And I hope you're having a lovely Thursday as well. Right, here we go then. The situation across Europe today. Deep area of low pressure in the Atlantic to west of UK and Ireland, and low pressure pushing into northern and western parts of Europe then. High pressure is reaching to the south and southeast. We're drawing in a generally mild southwest wind, except across northern Europe where it is quite a lot colder. So here's the upper air temperature today, showing that most parts of Europe actually bathed in mild or warm air from the south and from the southwest, with both yellow and orange colours. We do see cold air sitting across the extreme north of Europe, across central parts of Scandinavia, northern Finland, and into the northwest of Russia as well. But most places actually looking quite mild today. Precipitation wise, it looks like that. So under a ridge of high pressure, of course, mostly dry through much of southern, east and southeastern Europe, mainly dry through there. Further northwards, we've got showers and longer spells of rain into the UK and western parts of France, over the low country into Germany as well. And then more showers as we go further northwards through southern parts of Norway and Sweden, over Baltic Sea into the Baltic Sea states of Latvia, Estonia and Lithuania. Remember, as we go any further north of that, we probably run into a mix of rain, sleet and snow. So, remaining very cold across the extreme north of Europe, through central northern parts of Scandinavia. Otherwise, quite a mild sea mode across most parts of Europe. Excuse me. And actually quite warm as we come down to southern Europe. So, through southern and eastern parts of Spain, for example, we could be getting the temperature there into the mid-20s today. And further eastwards into east parts of Europe, from the Baltic Sea states over to the Black Sea, again looking pretty mild, or if not warm, through there. Probably a little bit cooler than it has been for the UK and Ireland actually, but still reasonably mild. Well, tomorrow we keep low pressure going across much of northern and also western Europe. The ridge of high pressure further south is beginning to be flattened off. Not much change with the upper air temperatures, most places looking mild, but cold air beginning to sink southwards again through Scandinavia. Precipitation-wise, showers and longer spells of rain from the UK and Ireland and France in the west, over towards central parts of Europe, so getting towards Poland, see some outbreaks of rain, and pushing down into the alpine areas where some of that rain could turn to snow. Further northwards, we'll have a mix of rain, sleet and snow through central and southern parts of Scandinavia. And that will turn to snow showers, I think, as that pushes southwards, and we start getting this colder air digging in across Scandinavia. We see that the temperatures are becoming colder, particularly through Norway. Also, that cold air can sink a little bit further southwards through into central parts of Sweden. And the cold air starting to come south into Finland as well. Otherwise, quite mild though, through Baltic Sea states, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, quite mild. And then south of that, actually quite warm through the central and eastern parts of Europe and down into southern Europe as well. Temperatures upper teens, low 20s possible. And then out into the west, into the UK and Ireland, just as far north of France, see the temperature there a little bit cooler and fresher. On Saturday, low pressure begins to transfer into northern Europe. We start to see cold air digging further southwards across the north and west of Europe. And low pressure begins to start pushing into southern Europe as well. Upper air temperature still looking nice and mild in most areas, with both west-southwesterly winds, but it has turned cold across Scandinavia. So that cold air just starting to get into northern Britain as well, to Scotland. And precipitation-wise, again, showers of longer spells of rain through the central and western part of Europe, pushing over into the east as well. Some quite heavy showers, some places, maybe some rumbles of thunder. Further north, of course, the showers will turn readily to snow as we run into that cold air that's pushing southwards through Scandinavia. Further wet weather in towards western parts of France, northern Spain, Portugal, with that area of low pressure just there. That'll be threatening parts of southern Ireland, southwestern England as well. by the end of Saturday. Further south of that, most parts of the Med, though, looking mainly dry, fine, sunny and warm, and temperatures through most southern parts of Europe again, releasing to the 20 Celsius, low 20 Celsius, through southern parts of Spain, for example, into the central part of the Med, probably into the mid to upper teens Celsius. Very pleasant conditions. Further northwards, it is cooling through Ireland, the UK, France, Low Countries, Germany, western parts of Poland and Denmark, and up further north of that, it's actually really quite cold through much of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and that kind of begins to start pushing southwards into some of the Baltic Sea states as well. By the time you get through Sunday, low pressure is transferring towards the Baltic Sea, and that pulls in a cold northerly wind into northern and western parts of Europe as high pressure begins to pull out into the Atlantic. Heights are lowering through southern Europe as well. So cold air is moving southwards through Ireland, the UK, into Scandinavia, and also into the low countries and northern parts of Germany, even into northern France. So the air will be somewhat colder. Southern, east and southeastern Europe remains with those warm upper air temperatures. Outbreaks of rain, some of it heavy and plunging, maybe through France, in towards Germany, and back into the low countries as well. Could readily turn to snow over the tops of the Alps, of course. And then north of that, snow showers through Scandinavia and into these Baltic Sea states as well. And some wintry showers possible for Ireland and also the UK. Again, much of southern southeastern Europe looking mostly dry on Sunday. Cold across northern Europe, becoming colder in the west of Europe as well. The warmest of the air being squeezed away to the far south and southeast. And then on into Monday, where it looks cold across much of northern Europe. That cold air is pushing into some central parts of Europe as well, and it will be turning a little bit cooler into the Med as well, I think. High pressure building behind that trough of low pressure across western parts of Europe. The upper air temperature look cold in many areas on Monday, quite a significant change. Warmest upper air temperatures down towards Spain, Portugal, through the Med, and then into the far southeastern corner of Europe. But most central, northern, the western areas are actually turning colder on Monday. Turning main drive a ridge of high pressure through the western part of Europe. The rain, sleet and snow getting pushed further eastwards into central and also eastern parts of Europe. Of course, rain on the leading edge and then turn to snow as that cold air digs in behind the trough of low pressure. And precipitation-wise, again, much of southern Europe gets the warmest of the temperatures on Monday, but they will be lowering even there, I think, away from southern, southwestern Spain, Portugal anyway, and probably Greece will keep the warm temperatures there. But generally, the temperature across southern Europe will be lowering on Monday, and central, north, west Europe actually looking quite cold, particularly so across Scandinavia, where it will be bitterly cold by the time you get through to the beginning of next week. Deep area of low pressure sitting in the Baltic Sea on Tuesday. That could bring some very wintry weather into northern and northeastern Europe. At the same time, though, the next area of low pressure started heading across the Atlantic, bringing the milder air back into the west of Europe. So upper air temperatures look very cold across northern Europe with that area of low pressure. Though to the east of below, we are drawing up some warm air actually, but generally this is quite a cold area of low pressure across the Baltic Sea. Cold air through much of northern central Europe as well, but you see how the milder upper air temperatures begin to come back into the far west and southwest, particularly into Ireland. So on Tuesday, we'll see outbreaks of rain and snow across northern, northeast Europe. Most of this will be snow. I mean, could be very significant snow as well through Sweden into Finland and also through both Baltic Sea states as well. We could get some quite significant snow there, I think, on Tuesday. Further south of that, yes, could get some rain, sleet and snow through parts of Germany and Poland as well. Some showers into the eastern part of the Mediterranean breaking out. Central west parts of the Mediterranean mostly dry. And they have these outbreaks of rain coming back into Ireland and also the UK, and that will be introducing those milder temperatures. So the temperature looking cold again across much of northern and northeast Europe on Tuesday. Many parts of Europe actually looking quite cold again on Tuesday, but warm in the far south, southwest of Spain and Portugal and southern parts of France. That's where warmer temperatures will be. And then move through into Wednesday, where low pressure back in control across much of Western Europe and milder air coming in with that area of low pressure as well. Meanwhile, Scandinavia, sat under this cold trough of low pressure, will be keeping things cold through there. And milder air generally begins to start pushing further eastwards into some central parts of Europe as well. So Scandinavia again looking cold with that area of low pressure. Otherwise the cold air beginning to retreat out of western and central Europe as milder upper air temperatures start pushing back in from off the Atlantic. A lot of rain for the UK, Ireland, north parts of France, low countries into Germany as well. Some really wet weather through there. Of course we've got lots of snow further north across Scandinavia and northeastern parts of Europe once again. And then much of southern and southeast Europe looking very dry, with temperature becoming ever warmer through Spain, Portugal, and into some parts of France. Coldest of the air, of course, is sitting over Scandinavia. But that cold air is beginning to retreat back northeastwards once again, I think. And then on Thursday, again, Scandinavia is the exception to the rules, sitting under that cold and wintry trough of low pressure, but otherwise milder air is moving in to the west of Europe. So the upper air temperatures look like that. Coldest across Scandinavia and the far north of Europe, otherwise becoming milder or warm, maybe even quite hot across southern parts of Spain, Portugal. That might get the temperature into the upper 20 Celsius down there for the first time this year, maybe. Outbreaks of rain again, marking boundary between the cold air to the north and the warm air to the south. So some very wet weather through the UK and Ireland in particular, and over into the central and eastern part of Europe. North of that, it's a mix of rain, sleet and snow across Scandinavia, and then a few heavy showers through the Balkans in towards parts of Greece and Turkey. Further west, though, it should be mostly dry for the central western bowl of Mediterranean. And coldest temperatures across northern Europe. Those cold temperatures are beginning to ease and retreat further northwards. And look how warm it is across southern parts of France, Spain, Portugal, and into the central Med. So maybe quite hot through, southern Spain by the time we get through to Thursday. A bit of a taste of summer, perhaps. I'll just bring you on to day 10. So overall, it's looking very unsettled, really. And we might bring some cold air. Might bring some cold air back in, I should say, from the north across western parts of Europe again through the opening days of April. Now, generally all looking rather mixed, low pressure, never far away. I think the warmest weather will be down across Spain and Portugal with this ridge of high pressure, but overall it looks like staying quite unsettled and, and at times quite chilly all the way up to around day 10. Right, so that's European Outlook for this week. If you enjoyed this broadcast for Europe, then please can you like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you a little bit later on with our 10 to 14 day for this week's European Outlook. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.